Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Brindhaa. Hello, everybody. Very good evening, and I'm very excited to be here to speak about, uh, our lives' daily ups and downs. So most of us here have come here to understand about uh, their first step in the career. Correct? I mean, most of you here are. Majorly here because you guys are still in the student for level of your career, and you are intending to learn more and have a successful path made for yourself in the coming future, right? So I am Brinda. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, Girls Script Foundation, and I'm very, very, very glad to be here on this Girls Script Summit 2020. Thank you so much for the opportunity. One. Right now, I am here to speak about the course of life, CV. Okay. Now, when we're talking about curriculum vitae, what is curriculum vitae? See, the first thing that we derive, or where was curriculum vitae derived to in English, was from Latin. That is, the literal meaning of curriculum vitae is course of life. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about in detail. All right. Hope you can see my screen. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I am going to start off with a quote. The swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development. And that's exactly why all of you are here in this session. The the very intent of you trying to grow up in life and to have a development and to have a career based orientation or career based thought in you has exactly what brought you into this session, right? So we as a team will understand, how do we get into the corporate, and as a main focus, what is required is the CV, because the CV is the gateway or the license or the first point entry. In fact, when we speak about the entry or the CV, it's like the direct communication with the potential employer. Okay, which means your CV is the first point of your contact to the employer. I, as an employee, will not be able to see you in the very beginning, but we will always see you in the CV that you produce to us. That's exactly the importance of CV. And there are two things we call CV and we call resume. Now, what is a CV and what is a resume and what is the difference? CV is something, all of these terms had come late in 2000s when there were more job seekers than the employers. So there was a competition in the era, in the market, and everybody has to project themselves the best and very well. It was not, not everybody was reachable for the employer. Neither the employer was able to reach the potential candidates or the potential resources available in the market. That's exactly why resume or CV came up. CV is a generic word used. Resume is particularly used in UK and US markets. All right. Now, when I'm talking about CV, there's and resume, there is one major difference. When we talk of CV, the CV is the entire course of what you have done throughout your life. When I'm saying throughout your life, let's say if you had any kind of experience, then you write about your birthplace. Since then, you write every single thing: your birthplace, your studies, education, where have you studied, what have you done, where have you moved, how have you joined your work, when have you joined your work. The chronology will be there, and it will be in detail. But in resume, it's just the same but brief, which means it will have very minimal points. So I will say I was born in India and not in Bangalore or in AP or Chennai. So that's going to be much generic. in terms of explanation about what you have done or where you have come from. All right. And about your work experience or achievements, it's one liner in resume, whereas in CV you have multiple explanations given to every single statement that you write in your paper or in your CV. A resume is more like, hi, I am an HR recruiter. That's it. But in CV, I write about what am I specialized in, how long have I been working, what are the skill sets in the body of my work experience itself. So that is the major difference between CV and resume. However, in the real world, we kind of made it very generic to use the same word. Profile, CV, resume, it's all the same. But there is minimal difference. Hope you get it. And when we talk about the cruciality, I told you in the very beginning of the session that CV is the first point of contact to the employer, which means even before I see you, I see your CV. Which means with your CV, I will be able to skim out the very important points that I need to know about you. Which means I know what kind of personality are you before I could even meet you. I could actually judge you as a character just by looking into your CV, the kind of words you use, the kind of uh, sentence phrases that you have used, if you have copy pasted it, or if you have made it yourself, the format, the text, the color, everything will matter. And like I told you, it's with based on your skill set. I mean, with your writing of your CV, we make a filtration in the very beginning, as any kind of employer, or if you're a fresher or if you have experience, we have your CVs coming into the organization, and we totally skim it out. We filter it just by looking at your CV. So I will select 10 out of 100 CVs. That's the kind of percentage that happens around because of the way it reflects the personality. When we see that there is some kind of uh, importance given to your CV, that's when we think, okay, yes, somebody is interested in the job, right? Which means the making of CV and the CV is important, plays an extremely important role in your job seeking life. As a job seeker, we judge as a job seeker, you are writing all of your interests and your entire life's history in your CV. As an employer, we skim you through your CV and understand. Yeah. How should you write the CV? So this is like a very, very, very important point, and I'm sure most of you here to understand what impacts CV makes and how should you make it to be more memorable, more impactful, how precise that you could do to actually hit the right job employer, right? Okay. Now the first thing that I would talk about is the way you format. Okay, the kind of CV, if I am opening your, resume, I will look into two things immediately. One, how is the format of your CV? Second thing, the length. If it's more than 3 page, I'm disinterested. Or any HR or any manager for that, we are just so disinterested. Nobody wants to read a lengthy CV, which precisely means you have to have a shortened and precise CV. When I'm talking about precise and short, we mean to say A4 page could be of 2 pages at max. 2 page would be the standard size with precise and very minimal details entered in it. Okay, and you should be mindful about what you write in your CV. Like how do you include your details. The first would be your contact details. When I'm opening your CV, we should have your contact details. It should be your name, and then you have your contact details. That's your phone number, your email address, and your LinkedIn ID. This is something first. And second thing is, or the next thing is the profile. When I'm talking about the profile, it's that concise statement that highlights your key attributes and let's say helps you stand out of the crowd. Usually it's usually placed in the very beginning of the CV. So when I am opening up the CV, the first statement would be the profile. So it talks about your interest, it talks about how expressing are you in terms of your career aims, and what are your, you know, expectations in the new role that you're applying for. uh, okay, and it's recommended that you do not copy paste this particular part. Instead, you take this up and write by your own. Make a direct approach. Let it sound like you're actually writing it to the HR manager or the hiring manager. So it's more like, I am interested in XYZ positions because I have ABC skill sets and I would promise to be in here. I mean, it's not like an oath, but you ensure and express your enthusiasm, stability, and your key interests, basically. Yeah. And this is called profile. You have your name, you have your profile. Next would be your education. And it's important that you write your education in the very beginning, because we would like to because most of this filtering happens through your education. There's no, I mean, it's okay if you had to write it sometime later, maybe after, in a reverse chronology. Or you could first write your education, and then you could give, so 10th, 12th, and your degree and masters, and then go about it. And when you're talking about presenting education, I see that most of you do not uh, specify your CGPA, or in, if it's lower, and you specify your CGPA if it's in a higher grade. But I would recommend everybody that you write your CGPA no matter what. It shows your honesty in a way, and it's not always your CGPA that judges you, right? So you will have to be precise, and you will have to write which education center you have had your start of your education, which university, which place, because you would have multiple schools with the same name. And why we precisely ask this is, there would be something called background verifications in the later stage if you are selected. And for this, it'll be very, very important. We already know all your locations, or we kind of have an understanding about you with the kind of schools that you come from, colleges, places, all of it. Yeah. One. Next is the work experience. If any of you have work experience, please list it. And it's fine. It could be of reverse date again. So let it be. If you're writing your education first, then you go by the chronology. Write your first job, second job, that way. If not, just go about it. And when I'm talking about chronology, there are two types. One is the straight chronology, and other one is the reverse chronology. Straight chronology is where you start from the beginning of your early age. That's your education. Then you move upscale, so stating about your current experience or current position or achievements, whatever. But otherwise, the reverse chronology is where you write your current position. So if you're working, you write about your current position, which organization, what are you doing, or if you're studying, your current state of semester, whatever it is, right? And if it goes beyond that way, we already know in just one glance, it's very clear that what you are doing right now is just reached to the employer or the HR, right? And most of the recommendation is you use the reverse chronology. All right. The next point is writing about the skills and achievements. This is where you talk about the foreign language you speak and IT packages you can competently use, or the skill sets you list should be relevant to the job. Don't exaggerate your abilities, but you need to have a backup claims at your interviews. Just don't write anything that you want to, because you want to write in the skills and achievements, because the one who's interviewing is very much prepared to understand what state of mind are you, and if you are really having such skill sets. So if you got a lot of job specific skills, then just write it. Otherwise, it is fine. I mean, it's not mandatory you have to write every single achievement, like, yes, I have got a medal in my third standard or fourth standard in my school. That is not mandatory, but if you have made a Guinness record, or if you have actually got a star of the month award in your school office, then definitely go ahead and write it. Yeah. And the next would be interests. Socializing, going to cinema, reading are not something that is going to catch our attention. That's not something that's going to catch a recruiter's attention. But there's something more, like interests, like which is a little professional, which could be related to your job in any way. So if you are an IT professional, and if you also know graphic designing as your intro, or if that is interesting you, and if you write that in your interesting interests, probably that would help your profile enhance. So the whole idea of writing interest is to enhance your professionalism and not your personal front. Okay, which means you do not write, like I told you, not going to cinema, not binging, not reading, but something more, like writing your own blogs, or having interests in graphic designing, or if you are a teacher, or something like that. If you're a teacher, definitely reading would enhance your particular skill sets right now, right? So that's how you strategically write your interests in your CV. Next one is references. This is more relevant to young candidates, who are applying for jobs through references. Not just young, anybody, but would be more impactful for the young, and new bees, because you would need references, and any employer would reach out to your references to understand more about you, and that way it is very understandable, or approachable for us to have a better clarity about your personality, right? Yeah, so I have told you about how the length matters, what you're supposed to be, writing or including in your CV, what is the kind of format. Now, when we talk about the format, we have a lot of problem with format when it comes to CVs. And most of the times, we just do not want to see the CVs only because the format is really uh, annoying for a recruiter's eye or a hiring manager's eye. And why I'm saying annoying is we clearly understand the kind of personality or the maturity that you show in making your CV. The CV has to be much, much precise and very professional. If you are not having a right format, it would look like a mess, and that's not going to create any good image. All right. The first an important approach would be, do not use uh, you know fonts like Comic Sans, or ancient scripts and all that. Instead, use something very professional, clear, and easy to read. Like you have Arials, Times New Roman. These are the kind of fonts that are very commonly available, and it's just very professional, plain and decent, and there's no designs, or the font doesn't look different in different forms. No, none of this. And it's very potentially professional. Yeah, so we can always rely on Arial, Times, and New Roman. And when I'm talking about font size, use about 10 to 12 for normal text, for so that as whoever is reading your CV actually gets to read it in a glance, instead of having too much of details if they have to strain themselves, or if they have to like keep it away and like, oh, it's just huge. Instead of it, just maintain 10 to 12 as your normal, font size, to ensure that the potential employer can read it. Simple as that. Okay. And ensure all your fonts and font sizes are consistent throughout your CV. Okay. And when it comes to section like headings, a good way to break up your CV, have your headings, ensure that they stand out, making themselves larger. Which means if we had the normal text size for around to 10 to 12, then have your headings maybe two sizes bigger, 14 to 16, and make it bold or italic or underline. You have multiple options, so use them to make yourself look better and make your skills or headings, anything stand out. And it's always impressing. So instead of anybody reading through your profile, we will only look into the headings and understand so much better about you, and that would catch the attention to read more about what you have actually done, right? Okay, next one. List everything in reverse chronology. Like I told you, reverse chronology is the best way to have better impact on anybody who's having a look at your CV. It really works well. It talks about your work history and the most recent achievements, or your current work or current studies, whatever it is. When we know what state you are at right now, it's easy for anybody to have an approach, good approach, basically, right? Yeah. And another very, very, very important thing is keep it concise by using spacing, bullet points. Do not overbrief everything. You don't need to write too many things, like I told you. This type of CV layouts allows, potential employer to skim through, your CV, and we just could pick the important points at first in one glance, and it's just very impactful. If you are posting your CV, then if you're posting it to somebody or sending your CV through somebody, or if you're going to office and giving your CV for the first time, do not fold it. Do not have creases on your CV. Try to keep a clean paper without folds, and that makes so much of impact on you for the HR and the recruit. I mean, for the hiring manager, because we know the kind of importance that you have given to your CV is equal to the importance that you give to the job interview that you have come, is equal to how much you want the job, right? So ensure that you're not messing up with your uh, paper, your sheets that you're giving it to anybody. Now that we have COVID situation, you always send the e-copy. Now if that is the state, then do not I mean, never ever ever send word document. It looks very unprofessional. Whatever it is, be it in a PDF format where nobody, I mean, it's not very easy to edit immediately. Word format is not very attractive. It has the blue lines, corrections, ensures that, I mean, that doesn't make a professional appearance at any point. Okay, that's about the CV format. And how to write a good CV. What do they mean by writing a good CV? Now there is a lot to have written scriptures kept over. Okay, there are a lot of questions. What we will do is we have some time. So what we will save all the questions in the end of the session, and we will answer all of them together, right? Hope this works, because we are in a flow and we will just get done with that. All right. So I'm talking about how to write a good CV. When we say good CV, what's very important is the use of active verbs. When I'm talking about active verbs, it's like, example, you include words like created, analyzed, devised, presented. This way you as a person in your CV present or show your initiative. Basically, you show your good qualities. You show how enthusiastic you are about how you want to appeal and approach your job for. Okay. And for any good CV, there will be no grammatical errors, there will be no spelling mistakes. And there should never, ever, ever be such a mistake, because that's clearly stating that you are careless, and we would not want to take such careless people. It's that. And use a spell checker. Word, always Word, and all the MS gives you spell checkers. There's so many apps in case if you want to do a spell checker, grammatic check, all of it. Do it, then go ahead. Third point, avoid generics. Do not use generic words like I'm a team player, or I am a hard worker, or I'm a multitasker. Instead, you could give a real-time demonstrations. Like you could say you're a football player, and I would know you are a team player. And when you're saying about football or any other place where you have done a teamwork, you state an instance, not much, like very, very simple and minimalistic, but you say maybe you have won something or you handle some situations, something like that. And do not write hardworking. In case if you're really hardworking, just have some achievements written. It's okay, the minimal of the achievements, like you got star of the week for this week, this day or month, or you were the class prefect, or if you're talking about multitasker, write about your skill sets. Like I was telling about graphic designing, blogging, and working, and something else, musician, something. So you could be very strategic about what your job is, and then you tailor your CV. What I mean, is use the right strategy to pick your words in case of skill sets. If you're talking about interests, like I previously told, ensure that the interest is somewhere, linked to your current profession or the job that you have put up, right? And next one is tailor your CV. When I'm talking about tailoring your CV, don't have one CV and send it to every place. Instead, be job specific. So if you're applying, if you have XYZ skill sets, and if a job requires ABC skill sets with XY, then you write or you make your CV with ABC plus XYZ skill sets totally, in a way that you are able to learn things, you are able to contribute something for the current job. And when I am as a employer will look for the skill sets that I am seeking in you. Let's say I will just take HR as an employee, I mean as the role that we are looking at. When that is the case, this is an example. So if I want to hire somebody as a recruiter, I am just giving an example. So the recruiter has to talk well. Okay. When I'm taking, so it's very important that we are very approachable, very friendly, very expressive. Communication should be good. These are the kind of, and they should know some basic uh, uh, maths. Okay, something like this we look into. And now my job posting is stating all these things, and you say you are a HR cum finance, and uh, HR cum finance holder of MBA, then we would be skeptical because you not only have, HR thing, but also financial. So we are happy about having you in there. Okay. But if you say I'm only the finance guy, then we will not be very interested in your profile. Instead, we would reject it. We will just filter it out. So that's the thing. So you will have to be very careful about what your job advert is like. Ensure you make your CV very, very specific to the job description that is given to you. Don't just give your CV everywhere same. Okay. Uh, and then do not write curriculum vitae in the start of the CV. That's not very approachable. That's not very professional. We know it's a CV, so you don't really have to write that. All right. And create the right type of CVs for your circumstances, like I told you. So, be it skill based or academic CV, whichever is right for you, just do that. And decide on what kind of chronology you use, and according to which you write the CV. All right. And one another thing that we have noticed in youngsters and students is their email address. Their email address is like yo-yo-sing at gmail.com, which is not very attractive, which is not very professional. And sometimes I am the magic at gmail.com, or uh, crazy names actually. So this is not something very professional, which is not attracting us, which is not appealing. We laugh about it. Instead, make your email address sound very professional. Just write your name and few numbers, and that's it. Let it go on. Okay. And yeah, and in your CVs, we expect honesty. We expect um, that you do not exaggerate the skill that you have or whatever work you have done. Yes, say if you're a fresher, we do not expect anything as a skill set from you. We know that you are a fresher. You don't have to write 10 things to say that you have done this, you have done that, done this without actually having done anything. Okay, do not lie. So if you have not won a gold medal, you do not have to write that I have won a gold medal, because we will go back and verify every single thing. You will have to be very careful. And when you lie in the CV, we understand as professionals, after a point, you get to know that these are lies and this is not something very true. Yeah. Altering your degree grade from 2.2 to 2.1 as a degree, itself is a fraud. So that's a very major, crime in fact. So ensure that you do not alter your degree grades. So if you are 8.8, just keep it 8.8. If you're 8.86 or 8.89, then it's okay. You can write it 8.89. But if you're 8.82 and if you're writing it as 8.9, then it is a crime. It is a very big crime. And in case some organizations are very particular about the kind of, uh, changes that you've made in your grade, and that sometimes it's a fraud, clearly a fraud. So they might not like it. You can think they are going to have a glance just once. How will they understand? No, your grades matter sometimes at this point. Okay, so you'll have to be careful about what you mention and be honest. All that my advice or suggestion would be, just be honest. Do not fraud, please. And one more very important thing is, nobody's interested in your home address. Trust me, nobody's interested. Why are you writing your home address in your CV? If you're posting your CV online, just do not in Naukri portal or in LinkedIn or anything. In fact, that is going to be more harmful for you than anybody else. Okay, so avoid writing your home addresses. You should always include your your professional. You have to be very professional in the way you write it. That's the agenda. And yeah, now let's go for the next slide. Okay, now we have something called the cover letter. Now we have completed the entire way of writing CV. Okay, there's been so much that I have given you as a point to write CV, to format CV, to understand how you frame every single word and the kind of choices that you pick on. Now, what cover letter will do is enhance your CV. Let me say what cover letter is. You know, cover letter is like an application letter. Okay, so it's more of half a page to one page that introduces you with your work history, professional skills, and personal interest in applying job. When I'm talking about personal interest, it means that you kind of write a letter or an email directly to the HM, that is hiring manager, or the HR directly. In a way, if I get your CV with the cover letter, I will first read the cover letter and I don't even have to look at your CV. That is the importance of cover letter. It's a letter where you write about why do you want a job, what interests you, and why, I mean, how interested are you in the job. There are there are three things that you always write or write in a cover letter. It's more like a letter, like I told you. So you have introduction, you carefully grab the hiring manager's attention and explain why you want the job. Okay, at least and the next would be body paragraph, at least two paragraphs of detailing your relevant education, your skills, your work experience, suitability of the job. All of this could be in the body of paragraph. Let's say if you are an IT professional, say that, hi, I am Mr. John, and I am John, and I found your job advertisement in this particular website, and I'm extremely interested to apply in this job because I have XYZ skills with this many years of experience, and I think I am a suitable candidate for you. Okay, and in the end of your conclusions, reiterate your strengths and ask hiring manager to contact you. I hope to hear from you at as soon as possible, and I would be very pleased to have a call from you. This is how you finish off your cover letter. The cover letter, you know um, is like I told you, very very impactful, in fact. So I will show you an example. So you have this as an example cover paper, just like how I told you. So you have the contact information, which you can give or you can just avoid, but in the very beginning, and you have the introduction. So you say hi to the hiring manager, and you write, I'm writing to apply in your current company because you have this many years of experience and you have expertise and you are able to handle a responsibilities. Next, in the body paragraph, they explain on how you can, really help the company grow with both mutually attaining your very personal, goals and targets. So you will have your own plans of 5 years from now, and exactly what the company would have. So it has to be mutually attained, and how well would you be able to contribute in doing that is something very important. And that is like a you are just direct it's more like you're just directly talking to the hiring manager and saying, hi, I can actually do this job, just give me the job. That's the kind of explanation that you give in the body paragraph. And then you call to the action, which means since you have written all of this, you should also tell why are you writing this, correct? So you send an invitation and say that you would want to attend the job interview. So this is more emphasizing for a hiring manager or an HR, and very appealing because this shows your interests and initiative and your enthusiasm in the way that you would want to actually join this company, and you would actually be able to contribute. Then you say sign off, you just say thanks, bye, and your name. So this entire format is like you write a letter to somebody, right? Yeah, so that is about CV and CV making. We have covered pretty much everything about how you write a CV and how you have better and good impression about yourself in the CVs. Okay. And like I told you, cover letter is a pro tip. Just go with cover letter anywhere, and you are going to be given much more priority than anybody with just one CV. Yeah. So right now we can, look into some other options as well. Um, so I will show you some sample CVs where there are a little not very attractive things and a little good kind of CVs. So I'll just show you some of it. So I think I am here with one CV that is from one of the CVs that I've got from the registrations. I have cleared out your names so that you don't feel bad about it. But there are a lot of mistakes in this particular zone. Not sure how many can actually identify what these are. This looks very very formatted, very nice, and very highlighted. A lot of things. Now I would like to hear from people who are around, to say um, uh, what are the kind of mistakes that you see in this particular CV. You could write in the comment box. I would be able to read them. I'm just gonna ask you. So if you find anything that's irrelevant, or if you think there is something wrong in the CV, go ahead and tell me. And tell me the kind of format this has used. Okay, I don't see any comments, really. Okay, so I'll tell you what. This particular, CV is overdone, which means even if everything is the way that we have told it has to be, it's overdone. Now he's written curriculum vitae, which is absolutely not necessary. It's not very attractive. We do not want the curriculum vitae on it. And second one, he's written the profile or the career objective. Now, if you read this career objective, you will understand this is a copy paste. Naveen, yes, you're right. It's overexposed, and this has to be. I mean, this is more than one page. And Shrishti, you're right as well. So the chronological format is something that is up to you to choose, but we have an option of giving you the very initial, your current phase at beginning. He is right. Nidhi is right. So career is spelled wrong, and it is congested. Absolutely, you guys are amazing. You're just amazing. And it's a lot of information. In any curriculum vitae or in resume, you do not need so many informations. Absolutely not. And see, what he's also done is he's copy pasted the career objective. If you notice, it's not something that he has written it. I'm sure in most of your CVs, it's the same. It's always something that's copy pasted and not attractive. It's not very appealing for anybody. Second thing, like you guys told, it's very congested. He's written everything in detail, but overexposed, and a lot of uh, breakups, a lot of things in this page. He did not have to really highlight every single thing that was given in this paper. Okay, now he's written the research papers and technical expertise, and he's written a lot of things again here. Again, overexposed, a lot of breakups. Now I'm confused to look at what and where, and it takes time for anybody to understand what exactly is given in here. And here, a lot of highlights. It's a lot of highlights. It's a lot of bolds and underlines, and so it's more like it's a normal text more than anything that would actually catch your attention, right? And again, it's absolutely not very appealing CV. He has a lot of skill sets, project undertaken, but how many of you could actually read what his actual skill sets are on this CV when I'm scrolling this way, right? So that's about it. This is one of the CVs that we have. There's another CV. This is a this is another CV that I have. So I would like to hear from you how appealing is this? Uh, right, Shrishti, you're right about it. Looks more like a report than a CV, which is not very appealing. He's written every single thing that we had spoken about in the CVs list, but unfortunately, it's overdone, like you said. And the next CV that I have shown is you could make a decision of if it's nice or not. For me, I found it very easy and appealing. It's chronological, it's very precise, and I think this is very young students, right? And he's shown so much of maturity in the way he's written it. There's no much formats um, in his profile. It's not very fancy, very simple, professional, and it's just appealing. And skills, he's written so many things now, so I would actually make him sit and talk about everything. And you see that he is into engineering, and now he's written about his leadership, teamwork, problem solving. So he's been very strategic about choosing his skills. He's written about digital marketing, and where all the platforms also he's written. It's not in Excel, it's not in big table or anything, and it's very simple, very simple. He's written all the right necessary skills, very very chosen, and it's all. And see about his interests, he did write about BTech. He also has written about dance, acting, videography. Now you think, is this strategic? Yes, definitely, which means his videographic skills would somewhere or the other also complement his digital marketing and graphic designing as his skill set. And he is into engineering, which means in the future prospects, when we go about in the uh, later stage, when we he's applying for any job, he is strategic about how to appeal himself as a profession. Okay. And marital status is something that you can mention, there is no harm in it. And it is also not correct address. No, address again, most of the times we don't need an address, so it's up to you to mention an address. In fact, address mentioning is a risky job because it would be in a public platform and accessible, so you're giving your you know one of your key data to the world to access. As a company, we are not interested, and you just send them. There will, if we are interested in your profile, we will afterwards ask you for address proofs and everything. So that's about the address. Yeah, so I have shown you or presented you two different CVs, which is pretty much there. And just a second. So we have the next topic, interview. Yeah, yeah. So, how many of you are scared or nervous when it comes to interview? Can you type in the comment box? I'll definitely be able to see that. Garji, no, definitely not. It's definitely not important that you place the, CV. I mean, your photograph in the CV. It's totally up to you, but it makes an impact. In fact, I see the photo. Um, there is more of an impact, but necessarily not. As long as you are able to articulate yourself well in your CV, it's more than enough. See, what I'm telling is, uh, as a CV, you take care of all the points that I've given you, but don't overdo it. um, CV and resume have just very minimal difference. That is how brief you write and how detailed you write. Okay, when you write it in just one words, two words, then it's a different thing. And if you're writing it more than that, then it becomes CV. It's one and the same. So it depends on you to make an impact of yourself in either of the format. That's to Lohit. Nidhi, hi. Okay. So is it only you that is scared of interview? I suppose a lot of people are scared or nervous when it comes to interview. Interview has to be very very okay. Okay, all right, cool. So interview has to be a process where after your CV is shortlisted, you come and face the hiring manager or the HR manager, right? So you are short of with a lot of questions, a lot of varieties of questions. In most of the times, the interviewer would never, really. ask more than 5 to 6 questions, and that is about your interview. And the kind of information that we try to extract from the interview is to understand your personality, to understand your state of mind, you understand your stability, to actually see how as a person are you fit in the organization for the given skill set. Yeah. So we have the kind of question types. There are the, around 5 to 6 kind of questions that we always shoot to the candidates. And, it's very simple. Most of the times, one questions from each would be, enough to give us a better understanding about who you are apart from your CV. And with this kind of sessions, we will be able to understand your hold on your job, basically. Yeah, on your job, on your personality, and how honest you are, because we are going to judge you on basis of your CV that you were given. Right, so you have given me the CV saying you were extremely hardworking, and then when you come down to this, uh, or you have written you're punctual, and then you come to the interview after half an hour, I already know what's the truth, right? So that's the kind of judgment we make when it comes to interview. So I'll tell you what are these kind of questions, so you understand what exactly we look into when we talk about uh, the kind of questions. All right, when I'm talking about basic interview questions, it's like, please tell me about yourself. Tell me what are your strengths. Tell me your weakness. What do you want from the job, or what's your ideal company? What attracted you here? Why should we hire you? Kind of questions are always there, and this is very basic, very generic, and there are like no right answers for it. Everything is an answer. You say yes, I am interested because of this, or you say it's my personal need. Everything is good and accepted. And but here, with the kind of answer and the way you articulate yourself would give me more of your traits, and there I will, or as an HR, or as uh, a hiring manager, would pick up points based on your answers. All right. You have something called the behavioral questions. So, when I'm talking about behavioral questions, what are the things that you focus on? Let me ask you sample questions like, can you describe a time when you had work was criticized? So, what is the point, or answer that we expect from you would actually tell me how much of patience you have, how much of tolerance you have, how much of team, management and acceptance do you have? Hope you understand. Which means somebody's talking about you having a bad time in your organization, or in your school, or in college, and how did you handle it? Okay, if you say I was raged, I was really irritated, if I was frustrated, we know that you have very minimal patience level. Or if you said I actually did counter, I did do something counter, which means we know that you still will have some kind of issues within the team, and so we will have to consider your hiring basis on the existing team. Okay, so the kind of understanding with such questions are really to understand your behaviors on the situations. It's more of situational reactions. Yeah. So another question would be, how do you handle working with people who annoy you? These are kind of examples. Okay, and what is the last project you led, and what was the outcome of it? Such questions are very behavioral, basically to understand your reactions to the situations. Okay, and your salary questions. This is something that is anyway going to be there. Then you have something called the career development questions. So when I'm and these are critical questions which is very difficult for most of the candidates to answer. They um, they they stand stunned because they do not know how to answer them exactly. Why? Because they are not planned enough. you know when you enter an organization, you don't enter for yourself alone, but for the organization as well. So, career development means you developing so the organization develops. Okay, what are you looking for in terms of your career development? is where I am asking you, what is your future prospect? Please tell me. Okay. And how do you want to improve yourself in the next year? Meaning, what are the new skill sets that you want to learn? So my objective of the question is to understand what is your interest in your career. And the more you're interested, the more I am interested. Correct? So that's how it should go. But do not be over enthusiastic. Say, I want to be CEO in just 2 years. It's impossible and unrealistic. So be practical, be realistic, go one step at a time and write. Yeah. So this is about career development questions. And we had something called getting started questions. Uh, Getting started questions. So, when we talk about getting started questions, how do you get yourself accustomed into the team? How do you get your profession kick-started after you are within the team? How are you going to describe your new project, or what is your strategy in the next 30 days or in the next 90 days? Where do you see yourself in the new job after 30 days? So it's time specific and it's in the early phase. Okay. So if you're a fresher and if you have just joined an organization, or if you're just, stepping in for an interview to join an organization, they would ask you this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And that's a career development come getting started question, where you have to first start from somewhere, right? So you say that you have just stepped into it, you will learn the skills, you will adapt, you will contribute, and you will build it. That's how you should be able to say. So questions like, how would you go about establishing your credibility quickly in the team, which means you're new. So these are kind of questions for you, particularly to attract, attacking your newness within the team, or how much will you be promising us despite you're new, right? And there are questions about you. Now, what are the kind of questions about you? See, we have had enough of basic generic questions like, tell me about yourself. Apart from it, we have something called questions that could attack your personality. Okay. So if I'm asking you, what's your ideal working environment? So it's more like, you tell me, where do you want to work? I'm fine with working from home. Now that's the scenario. And most of us are not fine from working from home. Instead, you want to work in an office, or you would want to work in a different platform altogether. So that is going to explain me about your personality again. Your work style. Please explain about your work style or the culture that you expect. So different organization has different cultures. In corporates, many organizations does not call have the vertical hierarchy in terms of daily day basis. Even if he is the CEO of the company, I would call them with by name and not as sir. This there is this one culture somewhere, and there is an horizontal, I mean, this is like horizontal way of approaching people. There's a vertical way where you have sir, madam, um, to be specified, be very specific, the dress code, or the cultural values that they really hold over. These are the things. So they ask you such kind of questions about you to learn a little more detail about your personality, like who's your favorite manager and why in the previous organization. Which means the more you like somebody who is in favor of you, you are comfortable. But if you said someone that was challenging, I mean, that was rude on you, but you still did good and you like them, and that would actually convey a message saying that, oh, he's liking challenges, and he likes the pressure, he likes to move ahead of the shell, he is just breaking out of it. So that's the kind of personality that we would be able to assume and come to an arrival of, right? There's a lot of such personal questions. Now the next point is brain teasers. When I'm talking about brain teasers, these are most of the times used on people who face a lot of clients who has to use their brains in their jobs. So let's say, can you please sell this mobile phone? Is your question. Then you will have to actually use your brain. You have to have a strategy. You have to then sell your pen or mobile to me on the spot. That way, you're trying to trigger my brain. You're trying to understand what my logics are, what my analytical abilities, my marketing strategy, my determining skills, how much I am able to judge the other person, right? So you will have to understand all of this. So brain teasers are fun. It's more like, why is there a fuzz on a tennis ball? You know, so you just have to answer something, and it's just to trigger your innovation. It's to trigger your imagination. It's to trigger your uh, your your brain where you have not learned something from school or college, but it's more of your stimuli. Yeah. So you will have to be prepared about these kind of questions when you go to interviews. I have actually given these kind of questions, so you are able to understand why these come up and how you are supposed to be answering and what is the intent. Yeah, would it be so? Just a minute. We have a question from Vikram Patel. Would it be better to write the completed course on the CV? It is always good to write the completed course than the pursuing, but you can always always mention the pursuing as well. Madam, how the next is from Raj Vikrant. How should we tackle the question? Do you have any queries at the end of the interview? See, you have to be very honest. Sometimes, interviewer honestly asks you if you have queries, which means he would have explained about a lot of things. Interviewer just not talk about, or just not understand you, but he also is liable to explain you what the job is like. Correct. So if he's telling you certain things, he's talking about the organization or the culture or the job technicalities, how it's going to be. You are in a position where you can question them. Say, sir, I did not understand this. Could you explain me back? One could be this. Or if you have queries about other HR or other administrative things, you can just answer. Or if you didn't have anything, just say no. So it's going to be very honest. But a very 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 important part of interview is how you articulate yourself, be it an experienced person or be a fresher. Very important thing is stand confident, but not super confident. Everything be in limit. Communicate well. Even if you have the stammering problem, even if you're nervous, take a breath and then slow down and look into the person's eyes, and do not think he's he's a monster, or he's something that is going to chew you and eat. Instead, he's just a human. Just go ahead, talk to them. It is just going to be that simple. Talk to anybody, talk to him as your friend, have a discussion with him instead of really being scared and give interview, right? So this is very essential. Be confident on what you say. Do not lie. As long as you are not lying, I'm sure you're going to be very confident in the way you explain whatever it is, right? uh, So now that we are open for discussions, anybody has questions for me, please let's start now. I'm sure I have not uh, answered a few questions in the beginning. Um, okay, so we have question from Lohit Vishwa in the very beginning. Um, so he's said how our resume gets rejected when we apply job in portal. Okay, see, your resume will get rejected on basis of multiple factors. One, the job requirement versus your submission. If you have applied for an IT engineer role, let's say Java in specific, if you have applied for a Java role with .NET skills, and or some other irrelevant skills without any Java experience, isn't it obvious that we will reject one? So it's going to be rejected that way. Or could be eligibilities like minimum of 50% or 60%, or minimum of a clear clean CV, or 5 or 10 years of experience. So these are the kind of space that your CV gets rejected automatically. This is one. Second thing, like I told you, the job requirement versus your CV. Okay, this is the second thing. Third thing is, uh, how well have you articulated yourself in the CV? Your CV makes big impression. Why I am saying this is, I have not seen you so far, but I sometimes get so impressed by the way you have written the CV that I would want to talk to you. Similarly, I do not want to talk to someone whose CV is rubbish, or whose CV has no right content or right format. I already have judged. In fact, one liner would be, your resume or your CV is an advertisement to your personality, to your to you. I can have a better understanding about you by just reading 4 5 lines of your CV. Yeah, so I have answered your question pretty much there. And Ankita, I think I answered CV and resume's difference. The mental health automation, but if you wish, I could again repeat. Like I told you, CV means it's much detailed. Yeah, CV means it's very much detailed. So you have worked in some organization, you also write what your work was. But if it's a resume, you only write your work experience from this time to that time. That precise is resume, and CV is where it's detailed. Yeah. Um, if you have any other queries related to CV to post. Um, okay, Shrishti has also asked, CV should contain 2 pages maximum to get selected. Not really. See, if you do not have much experience, it's okay. Don't write anything. Just, just be very precise. Just uh, write your studies, your education, your current whatever, and precise. That's it. But your formatting, your font size, your color of the font, the border or line that you use has to be very professional and attractive. Yeah, that's about it. You don't necessarily have to write 2 pages, or you don't have to confine yourselves to 2 page. But I am sure without 15 years of experience, there's nothing much for anybody to write beyond 2 page. So you will have to contain yourself to just 2 page to make better impact and on the recruiters. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, so Bhavana has a question: how to handle the situation if we don't know the answer for the interviewer's question? Oh, please be honest. Say I don't know. But be confident. I do not know, but I'm sure I will go back and look at this answer. The answer for this. That way the interviewer uh, is happy that you're interested to know about it. Okay, and also impressed that you are confident. Do not beat the bush. It's not necessary. And interviewer knows that you might. I mean, he's not expecting all the answers from you. Yeah, I have answered Pavana's question. Kulli Sudeep has a question. Should we use any template for resume or make one on our own? Will it be professional if I insert my picture to the resume? See, it's totally up to you. Okay. Uh, any template that you are going to professional site and taking it, using it, perfectly fine. If nothing, make of your own, perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is it should look professional. It should not be multicolored. It should not be too fancy. See, fancy is very attractive for a graphic designer, but not someone who's come for a teaching job, right? So you will have to choose the format that you use according to the job that you are applying. So it's very important that we approach the job description the way we want, our CVs to look like. Yeah, and your picture, you can definitely not. It's not going to be unprofessional. It definitely is going to make me sound like you're speaking when I am reading the lines. Okay, so it's good to have pictures, but it's a choice of yours. Yeah. Okay, we have Raja Vikrant. How can we make a good impact during the interview? Okay, this is a very, very, very nice question. In fact, you enter the interview room, do not be nervous. When I'm saying don't be nervous, doesn't mean, okay, I'm not nervous. It's more like be confident even if you're nervous. Speak your name with clarity, say hello, hi to the interviewer, ask about them, are they doing well? Make it easy for both of you. Talk to the interviewer like you are talking to a friend rather than an interviewer on reality. So it becomes an interaction session rather than a question and answer session. So if you're talking to somebody in a close person circle, then you tend to ask questions, you tend to open up on doubts, right? But if you are talking to somebody in an external circle, you are not always at that space. So you are nervous, you are unsure about if I should ask the question or if I should not, if I should contain myself. So don't have such doubts. Be at ease, be at confidence. When I'm talking about confidence, it's not attitude in a way that you're arrogant, but attitude in a way that you're very positive, that even if you're not selected, you're not going to feel bad or cry, but you will try your best to actually get the job, right? Yeah, so I hope this answer, I'm able to kind of answer your question, Raja. Yeah. So Lohit Vishwa, which overused buzzword should I avoid? It's a good question too. Don't overwrite on your profile about hardworking, punctual, team player, things like that. Instead, just cut them down and be precise on your roles, and say that you have been working with a team of 12, let's say something like that, or 10 or something like that. We already know you're a team player. Say that you were a fun spock at your office. We already know that you are confident, you are fun, and you are you have good communication. So bring in instances where you could actually show off your traits than simply writing that I'm hardworking, because everybody's profile today has hardworking, everybody's profile has a team player. Yeah. Can we make a colored resume or just go with black and white? Because I found that there is a chance that our resume gets xeroxed and we lose the effect of using colors. As long as you are, sending it online, color is definitely an attractive point. You definitely can go about it. Xerox, I think most of the organization now go on e-platforms. Even if they are printing it, the layout would matter. Uh, the colors would anyway be there, and they would have already seen it. So it's a plus when you use the colors. Yeah, we can go about it. Um, any more questions? You guys have been a great audience. I'm sure you have to sit there and clap for yourself, because you've been very patient with me and listening to me the entire 1 hour. Yeah. Now, I think we should have some times taken for ourselves to have a mock interview session. I have had plenty of profiles given off to me from the audience section. So uh, you know we have Sahil with us, right? Okay, we have Sahil with us. today for the first role, where he and I would have an interview session. Sahil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Are you nervous by any chance?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so exactly what I said is you don't have to be nervous. So
Yep,
just a minute, let me open up your CV. So
sure,
uh, or actually I will have it for my visibility, and after which we I can show it to the crowd, the audience there. Yeah.
sure.
Okay, Sahil, good evening, and let's go about right now. And can I have an understanding about yourself? Take me through your CV. Talk to me about yourself.
Sure. So, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
First of all, thank you for giving a chance to introduce myself. So, my name is Sahil Rahman. I'm from New Delhi, the capital of
Okay.
India.
Hmm.
Uh, I am a final year undergraduate student pursuing my
Hmm.
BTech engineering in computer science. During
Hmm.
the course of my timeline, I was much driven towards the field of data science, machine learning, and data analysis. So that really made me to take an excite movements toward this field and towards this domain. So,
Okay.
talking about my schooling part, I have done from the
Hmm.
Frank Anthony Public School in the New Delhi itself. It's an
Hmm.
ISC course. And talking about my strength, I just take initiative to work independently and adaptive, and I'm really adaptable to any kind of situation that I have been given. And falling along with my weaknesses, I'm not comfortable until I finish my work within the given deadline. So I'm
Hmm.
really bad about that. And
Okay.
my short term goal is that I want to take my studies further and to know to know and enhance my skill and gain much knowledge about the domain that I'm much interested in. And
Hmm.
my long term goal is to further is to become more responsible and knowledgeable personality and on
Hmm.
a respectable position on my
Hmm.
company.
Okay.
That's all about me. Thank you
Hmm.
for having me here and giving me a chance to introduce myself. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's amazing. Very nice to hear from you about you. That's very, I mean, you have quite some of goals set for yourself, right? Yeah. So what
Yeah,
I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show your, resume to people out there for a view, so they know on what basis I am questioning you.
sure.
Okay. So I understand that you have written your profile by yourself or the profile summary by yourself, and it's not very much copied clearly. So I'm very glad about that. Hmm?
Yeah.
All right. So you have written about a lot of your work experience. Would you
Mhm.
be able to explain about all of these work experiences?
Yeah, sure. So let me start from the bottom and go to the
Hmm.
top. Okay.
Hmm.
So the internship that you can see that I've done in the Android application developer, it was during my first year when I
Hmm.
was novice at this field because I don't know what to do because there are multiple fields when you're a computer science student. You get a multiple fields to choose on, and since you're a novice at that time, it's really hard
Hmm.
to get and specify that okay I have to go to this field. So I've tried with the Android application, gain much more knowledge about that.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it was in that time it was organized by the HP Enterprise, that's the Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and got a chance to attend that sessions, attend that internship, and it really
Hmm.
helped me a lot that to create an app because uh, in a first year I was like a novice and like how I was keen to interested to you know how the apps are made, what are those, and
Hmm.
how we can build. And that internship, I think that it really made me uh, over excited, and I'm proud of that, that it really gave me an experience to that, because now when I see myself that I'm deploying my models in machine learning, and I think that yeah, I'm much confident about it. I can even work on the Android application and deploy my all the knowledge about my data science, machine learning in that. So I'm really much impressed by my first internship. So coming to the second internship, uh, it has been done during my second year. Personally, I have not mentioned one of my other internships because I think that would be, very lengthier. I've done one of my internship with a startup company called Polo Pool, and there I have got a role for a web developer where I have to maintain the front end as well along with the back end. So it was a great
Mhm.
experience to design their websites and have such a people around them. And this internship that you can see, the Python machine learning engineer, was a glimpse of something that I was about to do in future because I don't know machine learning all about. I was so keen interested in Python. So this
Mhm.
internship really gave me a, you know it opens me a wider, uh, I would say, doors of opportunity. That's, yeah, Python, but you can do multiple things with Python. So, and it's from the IIT BHU, so we can expect the quality of content they provides. So I was really, overwhelmed with that. So coming to next, that is a research associate that I have got. It's today, sorry, this year itself, because
Mhm.
before that I have wrote various papers, I've attended various conferences, and the best part is that I've not applied for this position. Actually, on that group where I'll be discussing about the conferences and the papers, one of the company not the CEO, actually the founder, recognized me and told me to send my CV, and I've just sent my CV to them. They have gone through it, and they suddenly called me that, like, we want you as playing as a research associate role in our company. So that was really awesome for me. We have been discussing on a new research, like a lithium battery and versus polymer. So it is a still going internship. Along with
Mhm.
that, I've got another chance to play as a data analyst. And when I was I've already mentioned that my goal is to become a data scientist, working as a data analyst and a machine learning engineer. So definitely, when I see my CV, I don't think that when I go to an interview that uh, Android application internship or Python internship will work out, because I have to give them a specific that I work on a specific domain. So data analyst job, it's a really great opportunity for me to get through my that I'm going in the right track, and I'm still with them. We have been appointed with the client's projects. That's a huge projects, and we are doing the end to end till the deployment part, and we have to show the client. So that's the best part, and it really enhance my ability. It really opens up my skills, that what I was thinking compare with what it is actually. It give me a glimpse that, okay, you were doing like on your own, that's okay, but that's what the corporate world is doing. This project is that the corporate world is making, that the work you have to do in the corporate. It really gave me a brief idea about that. And parallelly, I've got another chance with the data science analytics interns. That's my dream position that I always wanted to be, so I'm happy for that. And I've got the offer letter, I've got accepted for that, and in the upcoming weeks I'm joining with them. And that's why I've mentioned it, because in the August I've got my offer letter. And yeah, so that's all about my work experience, and currently I'm doing all the three internship parallelly. So that's the best about me. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, that's just amazing. Have learned a lot about you right now. A lot to have. I'm wishing you good luck about the
Thank,
current job that you have been
thank you
offered
so
of.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I will keep this a precise interview, very short interview, and we will kind of wrap up here. Is there any question that you have for me?
Yeah, sure. I want to ask that if I get selected, so what position will I be working on?
Now this is a very good question. And now that you are an intern and you're being converted, you will be in the first full-time employer level. Uh,
Yeah.
depends on the kind of company that you're getting into. So in my company, if you are there, I would give you the first level just by yeah. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, so that's a very valid question, and that's where we understand that you have interests in the kind in your job, in your role, in your career. And the kind of question you shot me was a career development question, right? It's not always necessary that an interviewer questions you alone, right? You
Yep.
always counter question everybody. So it was a great round with you. It's a very precise round to everybody. Thank you so much, Sahil.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
be
Much
online. Be
appreciated.
online. We can, I will tell you what are my
Sure.
observations about you. Yeah.
Sure.
Uh, Okay, I
Thank
will
you.
first go with the kind of positive observations that I've had. In fact, you have made a very, very, very positive impact on the entire series. You have been confident, you have been clear on your goal, you have been very knowledge oriented, learning oriented. You have, expressed a lot of positivity. You have been articulating very confident, your talks was confined to your work, and it was not taking round and round around the bushes. It was not very lengthy. You spoke about yourself and your experiences, and you were happy. And in fact, you made it a little more like a discussion than an interview. You were not scared. You were, I mean, despite you saying that you were nervous, you still did a great job. So tap yourself on the back for that. Okay,
Thank you.
this was being really, really great. Now I'll tell you what was not very appealing, or a little no point, was you lost clarity while you started speaking. Meaning, while while you continued to speak about your job, you lost clarity. Okay, so I mean, you did tell me what you were doing, but the kind of articulation you had lost uh, the chronology. The continuity was not there. One. Second thing, in the very beginning, when you told me about yourself, it was so jumbled. So you said one thing, you went to A to X to B to Y to. So it was in two different, domain altogether. You did that, but you fairly did a good job on whole. So if I was a recruiter, I would select you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so that's about your interview session. And let's talk about your profile. Viewers, hi, audience, do you have any comments on the way his profile looks or the way he has given interview? Please go ahead, comment. We both are open. Sahil's really been open to feedbacks, and a lot of he's been very open that way. Just go ahead and tell us about it. Now, when I'm talking about your profile, hmm, just a minute. Yeah. Say, I'm very, very happy that you added a photo and colorful, and that's amazing. I am so impressed that you did not use a curriculum vitae or a very standard borders. It's very peace, and it's very professional in the very beginning and appealing. You are a fresher, I understand, but you have a very lengthy profile. So I would initially assume that you are not a fresher, but someone with at least 5 to 6 years of experience, and your profile looks exactly like that, with someone who has higher end of experience. This is my
Sure.
observation. Yeah, so you will have to ensure that you make a little difference in your profile, because as I scroll down, I see that it is a little too much of information. Yeah, so this is exactly how curriculum vitae is going on in your brain, but I don't think this much of experience detail is necessary. Okay, when you start
Hmm.
writing about your internships, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That itself is a huge point to present on. You can maybe write one liner or something below it to keep it precise. Hmm?
Yep.
And one more observation is the chronology or the timing that you have used. How many internship did you do from 2018 to 2020? Five?
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so if it is five, how can it be July to present to 2020, August to present 2020, August to present 2020? So you have been doing multiple internships at the same time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have been doing the three internship parallelly.
Parallelly, okay. So you will have to mention it somewhere, or it would look
Mhm.
much faker, But this is fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying this so you could have a better impact, or it's more
Hmm.
like you have done this by mistake. Most of us would think,
Okay.
oh, he's done a mistake instead of it being true. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. And the rest of the point, yeah, there's a lot of information basically. Maybe you could cut down a lot of information. I'm sure you have been very engaged throughout your education, and you have a lot to write in your
Yeah,
CV. But
yeah.
yeah, you will you will have to contain yourself with respect to writing extra lines. Maybe you should not write it in lines, but as pointers.
Okay.
Do I make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
sure, definitely.
yeah, instead of writing abstract presented at the conference of international conference at Future Engineering, instead of that, you just say, very one-liner. So the first line, it's more than enough. You don't have to really explain all of this. See?
Yeah,
Yeah, or you can write what this, artificial intelligence is all about in short.
sure.
Yeah, so otherwise it's pretty much very, very, very impressive. Very, it's just amazing. I am impressed. So yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
apply at your company.
uh, let's see about it, but yes, it's too
Sure,
detailed. So you will have to cut down on the details. You will have
sure,
to cut down on the phrases and sentences. Instead, keep you, confined to pointers. Yeah. And the
sure,
same way about the
sure.
online courses. So you have written a lot of things. I am sure you have been very, busy and engaged and learning oriented, but everything
Yeah,
be in pointers will have a better impact on the viewer. Anyway, on the whole, it's good. You're selected for the
thank you.
job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much for being here,
Thank you.
Sahil.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much on it.
good
Thank
evening.
you.
Sure. Viewers, hi. So I see that you guys have written that his profile's been detailed, and that's exactly what I told to. Thank you so much. Um, yeah, all right. Lohit Vishwa has a question before I go to the next person who's line there. Which gesture should I avoid in interviews? So stammering is something that we see in a lot of candidates, be it experienced or be it newbies. So every word they are like, should I that this space fillings. Maybe you should avoid that. Before you coming to the interview, calm yourself down, pick words one by one, and align yourself and speak for once, in a line, right? This is one thing. Second thing is, do not keep, I understand you are nervous. You don't have to shiver and things like that. Nobody's going to eat you. You get the job or you don't get the job. This is just two things that you have. So go to an interview with a positive attitude and come out with the positive attitude. Gestures, again, avoiding is sitting like this, spreading your legs, crossing your legs. These are things that you should stop, because it's not very professional. You keep yourself professional at all points that you could. Yeah. Anything else that you want to ask me? Hello. Hi. Anybody has a question for me? Okay. Okay, cool. We will go to the next person online. Can I invite Prasanna here? Prasanna there? Hello, good evening, Prasanna.
Good evening, ma'am.
How are you
How
doing?
are you? I'm doing very absolutely fine.
That's amazing. It's great to have you with us. So let's begin with the interview session. Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So it's not going to be as precise. I mean, it's just going to be very simple again because you are a fresher. I'm just going to ask you one or two questions so you are able to articulate yourself, and I will tell you what my observations are. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, let's get started. Meanwhile, I'm sharing Prasanna's profile for everybody's view. So we have Prasanna's profile. Yeah, so Prasanna, I have your profile, and the viewers or audience also have a view at your profile. Can I ask you or help you? I mean, can I expect your guidance for me to take you through your profile?
Yeah.
Sure, please.
Uh, like, uh, what's,
Don't worry, just go ahead.
um, I'm,
What is your name?
yeah, my name is Prasanna. That is in short, and briefly, you can call me Prasanna. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I completed my schooling in Chaitanya Public School in Vizag only with
Mm-hmm.
CGPA of 9.7,
Mm-hmm.
and I completed my 12th standard
Okay.
in Sri Chaitanya Junior College.
Okay.
My percentage was 88 at that time. Yeah,
Okay. Amazing.
now I'm pursuing my BTech in Vigyan Institute of Engineering Technology
Mm-hmm.
in Vizag only.
Okay.
Like my hobbies are watching TV, and I spend more time on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to explore on some like how things work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to my short term goal, like I wanted to like be placed in a nice like nice company uh, as a fresher.
Mm-hmm.
After that, like I'm very interested in this web development and all, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm learning basics about that also.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, that's what about.
Okay, all right. Okay. So that's about you. Prasanna, okay, I have another question for you. What was the motivation for you to pick up, information technology, or computer science in precise? Why did you pick up computer science?
Like I'm very interested to be an IT professional now.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
in order to be an IT professional, then we have to uh, take related to IT
Mm-hmm.
sector and web development and all. I like. I have a bit interest in that,
Mm-hmm.
so I took.
Okay, all right. When do you have any future aspirations on what exactly you want to be when you talk about IT professional? Do you have any skill set in mind, or do you have any target companies in mind?
My target company is like I wanted to work in this Infosys mostly, and
Mm-hmm.
after that I'll give my next priority to Capgemini or a TCS, anything like.
Okay, all right, all right. And are you currently at your second year of BTech?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Um, Okay. So this is your details. What is NPTEL?
That is a online certification course regarding any like C language or C++
Mm-hmm.
or that will be held under the under what we call like
Mm-hmm.
IITs and NITs are going to conduct those examinations means to get extra knowledge or anything regarding the subject and all.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Is there any other questions for me, Prasanna?
Like, would you select me or
That is the
any?
result, isn't it?
That's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. We close the interview. The interview is over. Okay. Uh,
okay.
Yeah, people in the audience side are open to have a discussion. I mean, have your comments posted. Please tell me about how the interview was and what you think is lacking or what you think is good or bad, right? Meanwhile, Prasanna, let's talk about the interview. You tell me
Yes, ma'am.
what was your observation about the interview? Is this your first interview by any chance?
Yes, ma'am.
See, it was very evident clearly. We understand that this was your first interview and you have had no experience in the past. So you showed off that you were nervous, you were stammering, you had space fill-ups. All of this was there. But one thing was really positive was you were smiling throughout. So you knew that you could handle even if you were not uh, going to be selected or not. You were not really bothered about the future, but you did a good job that way. Okay, and that
Thank
kind of
you.
yeah, that kind of expresses the confidence. When I'm talking about confidence, you could be confident and nervous at the same time. Okay, so you were super nervous, but you still managed to smile it and hide it over with the blanket. Okay, so as an interviewer or people who are watching you could actually understand that there was some such thing going on. Okay, and another observation was your answers to my question was very vague. Meaning, do not get offended. Like I told you, we are going to discuss, right?
Mm,
It was vague. You will have to be precise. When I'm saying, tell me about yourself, uh, again, like Sahil, you did jump from here to there. It was not an order. Maybe you should construct an order for yourself. You should know how you
yeah.
speak, what you speak, when you speak, on what purpose, and you should have a chronology. So when you're talking about yourself, you say, I am from this place, I have done did speak about your education, I've done this, and then from nowhere you went to I like watching TV. So that was jumbled or very vague. Uh, the next was using a lot of space fillings. So every statement had a lot of all of this. So you don't have to use a gesture where you do not know things. Look at somebody in eyes. I know this is virtual. You will not be able to do that. But most of the times, concentrate and focus on yourself, uh, as if you're talking to the mirror, rather talking to the third person in a third room. It's more like you and second person are talking. So you will have to interact with me rather the wall and the fan around, right? Yeah, so that's one more point. And your answers to my question, I mean, I know you are a very beginner, I understand, but your interest would have actually uh, had a strategic impact if it was something else. So you said your future aspect is to become a IT professional. You I mean, I understand that you're being very honest and said that your interest is to watch TV, but you could have told me what kind of programs you like to watch, right? So that
Yeah.
way, yeah, in case you told me that you like Discovery Turbo, where they are using this kind of coding or this kind of tools or the kind of machines that they've been working on with this kind of technology, that means I would understand, or you make an impact to the HR or the hiring manager, that you are actually goal oriented even when you're expressing your interests, right? Yeah, so
Mm.
you will have to be very strategic in your approach, very precise on what you speak and how you speak when you're talking about things in your interview. But if the interviewer is actually interested in something more, like what is your hobbies, then you say something like this. Your interest is different from your hobbies. Okay, to everybody out there, interest is not hobbies. These are two different things, and we will have to keep this in mind. Yeah. Overall,
Yeah.
Prasanna, you were very positive despite you were the beginner. Okay, I mean, I would still go ahead with you because you were able to be confident and face the crowd, which means you have the strength in you and the courage in you to come onto this platform and talk. Okay, despite you being very nervous in the very beginning, you still managed to articulate yourself, you know, through, and which is good. And for a fresher role, I'm more than happy to hire you because I know
Thank
you are
you.
someone with a learning ability, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Clearly good, all well. So that's about your interview. Now let's talk about your profile, okay? Your CV. Now, this is a very simple and very nice CV. She has her name, she also did not write anything called curriculum vitae. She has her photo, which is nice, but which is not really properly edited, which means she has to crop it properly without her photo lines coming in, only her face. Little details like this will be looked at, but photo is there, so very nice. It's a little colorful, making an impact. She's given the contact details, everything good. Address was not necessary, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And she has something called the professional summary or the profile or the career objective. Now if you read this, most of us will know that this is a copy paste material. This is something that's just available. This is not really from her very own writing, but at a beginner level, and if you have a name to just start off your career, then this is fine. This is okay. All right. And her break. See, the previous profile that I showed had a lot of tables, which was very similar to this, but that looked more congested than this. This looks more spacious. This has precise and uh, very simple details, and you have the course details. Unfortunately, it's not very nice if you did not know what is the abbreviation if you're writing abbreviations in the CVs. I'm sure you will have to look into every single thing when you're writing in your CV because we will pick questions from your CVs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is for everybody. And one more thing was achievements. Now that if you do not have any achievements, you don't have to write them. You don't have to leave it blank, having something written in here. Instead, just don't write anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Then she has skills, then she has personal details, she has declaration, she has the rest of it, and she has another page. I mean, you'll have to be careful about it, but yeah. So her profile has been very precise, very simple, and very perfect actually, except the extra points and the
Okay.
things that I have told you. Apart from it, you have done a good job in your profile as well. So yeah, that's been a good stuff.
Thank
So
you.
Prasanna, you have been a great participant here. Applaud to you as well. Yeah. So all the very best. So let's
Thank you
get
so
it
much,
done with.
man. I'm
Yes.
very glad about you gave me this such a wonderful opportunity to face this first interview.
And this is a virtual YouTube live. I'm sure you will be able to present yourself anywhere very well. So all the very best to you. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Cool, cool. All right. Now we go open to the audience. Audience have any questions for me? Audience have any views? Audience want to talk about anything in person? Is there anything more that you want to discuss about? We are open. This is now our time. Exactly. So people have told that I think Shrishti, yeah, she's told Prasanna's CV is simple and nice. Exactly what I thought of it as well. So yeah. She did pull off very well despite she being very nervous. So kudos to Sahil and Prasanna for being around with us. And audience, you have been great, having had listened to me for this long. And if there is any questions, we can go ahead or we can close this off. All right. Doesn't seem like there is any question. I hope you are benefited out of this session, and I am very, very glad. I think the main factor is confidence. Just a minute. We have a question from Raja. Could you give us glimpse about resume parsers and bots which check for some keywords in the resume? See, I told you that you have to be specific on which kind of jobs you apply your job, for. Which means if you are having, like I told you, if you have XYZ skills and if the JD has XYZ skills, please apply. But if you do not have the skills and if you're expecting yourself to be selected, then you anyway are going to be rejected because the bots and the AI system has, developed themselves to pick the keywords. So if I want someone with Java experience, I will search through the AI will search through your profile for Java as a word. And if it's not there, I would not pick it. I would directly reject it. Simple. So you have to be precise on what kind of JRs you apply or the JDs that precisely. So if you're applying through LinkedIn, LinkedIn has the JD given. Read the JD clearly. See if you are having that skill sets, and if you think your CV does not have in the skill sets updated, please sit back, write your JD, tailor it. That's what I mean. So you sit down, you match your CV to the JD exactly. Not if exactly write it almost there, not copy paste. I mean to say, but tell about yourself where your expertise are matching with the JD. That way, when the AI is, having a run through, you cannot be rejected. You automatically will be gone to the TA view or the hiring manager view, and after which the rejection or selection happens on basis of the human judgment, right? So I hope I have answered your question, Raja. Shrishti says that the main factor is confidence to crack the interview. Very right. See, even if you do not have the skill sets, even if you lack somewhere, if you're confident enough and if you're able to put yourself positively and tell or convince the hiring manager that you will be able to learn quickly or contribute, then then you're done. You're selected for the job. Doesn't matter you have the skill set or not, right? So you're right about it, Shrishti. This is a very valid point. Okay, Vivek has asked GirlScript, is it necessary to add 10th, 12th marks in CV? It's very much necessary. I think it's very, very important that we have to write the marks because many organizations also filter based on your minimal percentages. And it's not like uh, it's a pressure that you have to score above 60 or something. But in case if you had anything less, we would appreciate the honesty. Organizations these days are very open about the marks, and they are welcoming people, and they understand why, and they are actually being uh, human to understand if there is any other situations. So go ahead, give your marks, give your percentages from your 10th and 12th. That makes a great impact. I hope I did answer your question, Vivek. Any other questions from the audience? No? Anybody? Okay, I think then we will close this session. Um, it's been my pleasure to be a part of this session. Okay, we have another question from Vivek. Can I skip for a particular organization? Skip what? Vivek, I'm hoping that you have heard me. What would you want to? I mean, what are you meaning to say? Skip? Okay. Seem like Vivek's not around. So yeah, now that we have already crossed 4 minutes past 7, we will close the session. Now I'm here to thank the GirlScript Foundation for having organized such a wonderful session and given me the opportunity to address such a beautiful crowd, uh, beautiful audience. I'm very glad that I've got this opportunity, and I I really wish you all a very good luck. And I'm heartily thankful to Girl Script Foundation for giving me the opportunity and all of you to have a glimpse about how the CV as a whole plays an importance in the corporate world. And wishing you all a very best in the future for your careers and great endeavors. And thank you so much for organization of this great summit 2020. Thank you so much. All of you give yourself a kudos. Thanks. It's been a great session.